What's up, everyone? I'm back in Atlanta at the biggest project we've ever done, and I know that everybody's going to ask this, so I'm going to make a video showing you the cars that are in here. When we first came here, the owner actually didn't really have any cars yet, so he's been working on building this collection. He had a Ford GT that he sold, made a bunch of money on, so we sort of reallocated some of those funds to some of these cars, and so I figured some of these are pretty cool, so I figured I'd make a quick little video, as quick as I can make a video, and show you some of the cars that are in here, since I know you're going to ask, and people seem to like this stuff. So let's walk through, and let's start with, I think, the best one, which is the GT2 RS. So this is I think GT2 RS, what they made, I'm not a savant of specs of cars, older cars, but I think this is 2011, maybe 10 or 11. So this has 906 miles on it. And the owner was talking about, I don't know if he's joking, yeah, 906 miles. He's going to drive it to 911 miles and then just leave it. So this car has PPF on it everywhere. You can see on the tach there, 906 miles. I want to say this car is probably worth today, 8 plus. But this is, I believe, guards red, PPF and the whole thing, the GT2 buckets. This is a collector's car. This is one of the ones you buy. I know everybody gets all bent out of shape people that don't drive the cars. He hasn't owned this originally, so he bought this with 900 miles on it and drove it off the truck and into here, and then the part of what the owner wants to do is collect some cars that he's always dreamt of, and then he has some drivers, which we'll show you some of those. So cars that will drive around a lot, and then cars like this that will sit and look pretty forever. The key for me, when I jumped in here and made sure not to crease the seats. But I don't know, maybe I was at my maximum fatness back in the day, but I remember sitting in GT2 buckets in a GT3 and not fitting, but I actually fit pretty well. And so this is good news for me, and me seeing the size of the 997 generation is my darn favorite. So I think I need to get a 997 GT3 RS, not a GT2. So the GT2 has, turbos. I just don't like how they sound. This car, what do they call this car? The Widowmaker or something like that? Or is that the turbo? Is that the slant nose? Yeah, I think this is the Widowmaker car, but there's people making 1,000 horsepower in these things. But this has original, the Gen 1 carbon ceramics, which look brand spanking new. But this car is darn perfection. Has PPF on every square inch of every painted surface, including I think it has stealth PPF on the yeah, it does, on the carbon front trunk. But this one is, this is obviously my favorite car. Again, I'm a GT3 guy, but if I was going to have a GT2 RS, this would be it. Thing is insane. Factory fresh, sitting here on some flat stoppers. It does have, I think probably the only thing aftermarket on this, it does have modern, these Super Sports are Cup 2s, so it does have modern Cup 2s on it, but this thing is incredible. And then next to it, this isn't a GT3 Touring, this is the 911R, and you got to look at the tach on this thing. So this, John, the owner of these cars, he's good friends with the guys from my friends, Jonathan Burt from Merit Partners in Atlanta. But this car has 58 miles on it. You see that there? Am I going to get that right? So the 911R is different from, a lot of people thought that the Touring would destroy the value of these, because then in the next generation they did come out with a GT3 Touring version. This one is different in that it has a different flywheel, has a different engine. These have still held their value. I don't know what this is worth. I think this is a $500,000, $600,000 car, something like that. Maybe it's a little more because it's factory fresh with the houndstooth center inserts. Those are all factory done. But this car is pretty incredible, and it has I think these are factory installed stripes. They may not be, because this is PPF'd, so I don't know if these were on the window sticker or not. But this car, again, another collector that I don't think he intends to drive very much, if at all. The purpose of these would be to park some money and hopefully make some in the future. These are two cars that they're not making any more of, and I think they have a special place in a lot of people's hearts, including my own. This is a 2,000 mile. The cool thing about this 458, this is a 458 Italia. It's not a Speciale, but when you open this, there's like a waft of leather, like leather goodness. So this is a stealth painted car. So this has frozen paint. This car has about 2,000 miles on it. I think that he intends to drive this some on special occasions where these two aren't getting driven at all. But this one, I think he plans to drive some. But then he bought the Spider, which is a driver's, so that has 8,800 miles on it. He intends to drive that one often, and probably turn that one over as the mileage climbs and get others. But this would be I think he probably intends to get a Speciale at some point. Now is probably not the time to buy a Speciale, but the 458, this is the one Ferrari that I think suits me. The thing that get me on Ferraris is the giant Corvette wheel gap. And I think if you lower them, you kind of mess them up. I don't know. I don't have any Ferrari modification experience, but you have real sunk wheels, and I just never like the look of that. That sort of wheel gap that you get from, and the front end, sitting all tall, because the front end does stick off pretty far off from the front axle. I think you kind of need that height, but I like my cars to sit on the ground. That's what's cool about McLarens, is that just the stock ride heights are way better. I don't know that the Ferraris have. I'm sure someone can answer. Yeah, it does have adjustable coilovers, so I guess you could go in and monkey with it, but you'd probably need to put an aftermarket helper spring on it in order to make sure you didn't have spring droop at full droop. But the greatest part about a 458 is it's naturally aspirated. That's why people would say, well, why wouldn't you do a 488? Well, I would choose a 458 over a 488 just because of the naturally aspirated engine instead of the transition to turbos. The 488s are cool, 488 Pistas, and I thought a lot about I'm not at Ferrari level, but at some point do you chase that idea of getting in the queue with a dealership and buy all the cars that they come out with? I just don't know that I'd ever want to play that game. I think the goal would be to get to the point where you had enough cash to just buy them secondhand and find one that you wanted or was close to what you wanted and just pay up for it, rather than having to do the dance of buying the Romas and the Californias and stuff like that. So that to me makes more sense. And then these are two drivers' cars. So much like I have my friends at EAG, so the guys at Enthusiast Auto Group up in Cincinnati, they source BMWs. They're sort of the BMW experts. Yes, you pay for that premium. You pay a premium for that expertise. Yes, if you were your own BMW whisperer, you could probably find some cars without them. I like the convenience and the know that they're going to vet the car and put the car together and get it to me, 85% of the way there. And for most people, they're getting you 100% of the way there, but they're getting me about 85% of the way there. But this is a E39 M5. I want to say this car has like 50,000 miles on it, something like that. But this is a car that he's daily driven quite a bit. This was an EAG sourced car. Same thing with the E46 next to it. This is Mike, what is this? Paint a sample? Yeah, Stratus Gray. This is an individual color, but you can see this car has been driven. It has some rock chips and stuff on it, but this car is all corrected and coated. And actually, Tom is maintaining all these cars. Tom came down and I shot a video doing my Raptor, so sort of taught him or updated him on the OG process, and so he's going to be using that on all these cars. This EAG does. They coat all the cars with. can't remember, it's a graphene coating, Arc to Shine graphene, so that's what I think is on this right now. These cars are not PPF'd. And then you have the 458 Spider. This one, like I said, has about 8,800 miles on it. I think he intends to, drive this one and, use it for as intended. And so he also has another E92 M3, which is what he drives around most of the time. But this car, again, this has normal, front end PPF on the high impact areas, but this isn't a car that's just a 458 Italia. You say just a 458 Italia, but it's a carbon ceramic, just a car that's meant to be, driven. And then this car, this is a Lime Rock, but this is a manual Lime Rock, which is pretty rare. So this was an EAG car as well. This is, they made 200 of these, but this is a special car because it's speed cloth, but it's not a single hump car, so it loses little points for that, and it has manual seat or powered seats, but it's speed cloth manual. Where and then it has it's one of the few cars where you actually see the upgraded, the premium audio system, but it's a nav car, so it's nav and powered seats. So if you took the nav out and if you did manual seats, this car would probably be worth $25,000 more. But this has a 10,000 mile, really clean, typical Enthusiast Auto Group example of an M3. And I don't think this one, this one doesn't have PPF on it. They took the front PPF off, and they'll probably end up doing it. I don't know if he intends to drive this one a lot, because again, he has a black 2013, E92, a low mile E92 that he drives often, and then a Tahoe. But this car is nice. I could see myself getting a Lime Rock, a Fire Orange at some point. This one does have the GTS. I don't think this is a replica lip. I think this is an actual GTS lip on it, which is a expensive, $4,000 or $5,000 piece. But this car is clean, and you can see the same thing happens. I've been telling people all the time, don't do this. So there's a PPF line, and that line is going to be hard to get out. There's a little ding there too that has to get pulled, but. That PPF line is one of those things sometimes comes out really easily, sometimes not so easily. My E92 still has a little wave in one spot on my freaking 800 mile, 900 mile car, now 1,000 mile piece of junk car that has a little line in it forever. So yeah, this just looks cool here in this setup. I wanted to show you the cars because I knew you'd be asking, just do a short video on them. I'm not an expert on his cars, they're his cars, but I wanted to show you them since I was here. It'll be interesting to see, we'll have this video when I come back in a year or two, what other cars he's gonna fill this place up with. But this is 50 by 100, so 100 feet long, 50 feet deep, and then we're gonna do I'll do a full tour video of we had to do some updates. Mike's up on the scissor lift, completing the Prevost, the Rytec doors are in. We've done some other updates to this place, so make sure to go check out that video of the ultimate Atlanta garage and how this thing's turned out. But a little different than last time. Those two in the corner, two that I'd love to have someday. Maybe he'll hold on to them and I'll get paid premiums for them while he makes the money on them. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.